Ever since I started working out, I've been interested in bodyweight training for one specific purpose, the bodybuild. I know you might think it's pretty basic, but you'd be surprised at how little the topic is actually talked about on YouTube, or even online at all for that matter. Now I know you're going to tell me that there's tons of amazing calisthenics channels out there, and you'd be right, but these channels don't actually focus on body building, as in tailoring your workouts specifically for the purposes of building muscle. Now before I continue, I have to remind you to subscribe. It's free and it does help this channel out a lot. Now most channels actually focus instead on building calisthenic skills and relative strengths, which is actually a really cool thing to do. Believe it or not though, a planche or a one-arm chin-up doesn't actually build muscle. It's the volume that gets you to that strength that does. So to build muscle, you actually need exercises that will work specific body parts at the appropriate volume. The reason that calisthenic skills training isn't actually that great for bodybuilding is that it cranks up the intensity to the max, but volume is too low, and in that case you're not actually maximizing your muscle growth. What I want to do is to prove to you that you aren't actually that limited when it comes to bodybuilding, even if you train at home with your body weight only, by showing you all the lifts that you normally do on a gym with the machines and the barbells on a typical shoulder workout day.
Yeah, baby. That's all you, big man.
And giving you their equivalent bodyweight exercises so that you too can have a bro workout training split at home with bodyweight only exercises. Now the first exercise we will be looking at is the barbell overhead press, or the dumbbell press, depending on what you prefer normally in the gym. This exercise is probably the main boulder builder for most people because it's the exercise that provides the biggest possibility for overload on the shoulders. The analog for that exercise is the wall-assisted handstand push-up. And like with the pistol squats, since our goal is to gain muscle, I do not recommend working on them free form, because if you do that, your limiting factor will be how well you can balance and not actually how much punishment your delt can take before failure. Now if you look at the overhead press, the range of motion is actually from the neck to the overhead position. But for whatever reason, a lot of people who like to do the Pike push-ups or the wall-assisted handstand push-up just cut off the range of motion at right above the head. Now if someone did that with a barbell at the gym, everyone would look at them as if they were a clown. So do your exercise at home by bringing your upper chest all the way down to the floor before pushing your head up and between your arms. Of course, I use the handstand push-up as the main example, but this exercise is easily scalable. So you do that by either doing the Pike push-up on floors, or you can just do regular Pike push-ups. And even if you can do the harder variation, depending on what your goal is for the workout, you might actually still opt for the easier variation for the sake of cranking out the volume to that next level. I myself still regularly do the Pike push-ups for high rep sets, and I'll do that for even to this day, even though I can actually do handstand push. Next exercise on the list is the Arnold Press, and this exercise was developed by Arnold himself when he noticed that you can get a better stretch on the anterior or the front part of the shoulders when you hold the dumbbell in a supinated position before twisting them up in the pronated position as you move your arms in the extended position. Now, the advantage of the lift is actually that it gives you that added stretch on the down position from the hands being in the supinated position and not so much from the actual twisty twist from the movement. So we can get all the benefits from the Arnold Press by doing our Pike push-ups while having your hands inverted into the supinated position. Next exercise on the list is the front delt raise, and that I'm talking about any sort of variation of that, whether that's with cables, with the barbell, with dumbbells, what have you. Okay, now the front delt raises are an exercise that you might want to do if you sit in your workout program. Now, in the first place, this exercise probably isn't a great exercise for most of you because you get a lot of that muscle being worked from your overhead press and your bench press to begin with. But the point of the video is to tell you that there is an equivalent with the bodyweight exercises and what it is, and not whether or not you should do the exercise yourself at home. The exercise in this case is the dolphin push-up. Now, it looks kind of silly, but in the end of the day, the point we're trying to get is that it's working your delts effectively, and that's all that really matters, isn't it? Now, the side lateral raises are an exercise that I use to isolate the side delt, and it's the exercise of choice when it comes to that. Now, there's a good exercise to replace them. It's the wall side lateral. Now, with this, you just need to find a doorway, lean against it, and start doing the movement. The more you lean, the harder the exercise is. The less you lean, the easier the exercise is. Now, one more thing you can do to give this exercise some added difficulty is to lean down past the doorway so that you can get some extra range of motion and some extra stretch, which will help your delts to develop. The upright row. Now, there's another side delt exercise builder that is popular, and we're talking about the upright row. Now, this one seems to be a little bit of a controversial exercise because of some YouTube experts who seem to think that the exercise belongs in the graveyard of sorts. Anyway, I will leave it up to you to decide if it's the case. I myself don't actually perform the exercise because it doesn't agree with my wrists, and so I prefer to do the hanging high pulls instead. Now, the exercise that I do now to replace the exercise in question is the bodyweight high pull. To do this, you need to have a bar that sits at about hip height, and so I strongly recommend that you get a chinup bar that you can set up at 2 different heights if you actually want to make bodyweight training a long-term training approach. You don't actually need to buy a lot of equipment for bodyweight training, but this is one that I strongly recommend. It's the cheapest bar you can get, and ironically enough, it's in my opinion the best one, because the more expensive ones that you get don't actually allow you to change the bar's height. It focuses more on whether you could do different grips or do dips or any of that sort of stuff. Okay, but Walmart sells them. If you don't want to get out of the house to buy one, I've included a link to a bar that you can buy on Amazon in the description box below so that you can get the exact one that I use in this video. Now, until then, you can actually just use a broomstick and 2 sturdy chairs. The bodyweight high pull is essentially a Australian push-up with an added external rotation that you end up basically what you end up doing is that you're pulling the bar over your head. In reality, you're actually pulling your body out in front of the bar, but for the sake of this video, thinking about pulling the bar overhead is a better cue. Now we're going to talk about the rear delt flies, the reverse back deck, or any sort of rear delt fly type exercise that you'd see in a workout program. The rear delt flies can be replaced by the rear delt rows. Now, these are definitely superior alternative to doing these supine push-ups. The problem is that all you can do with the supine push-ups is a squeeze at the top of the muscle, and there's actually no eccentric component to the movement, which is a big hit against the movement when it comes to hypertrophy. The rear delt row is the better exercise, considering the fact that the exercise takes you through a full range of motion. The trick for the rear delt row is to bring your upper chest to the bar when performing the rows. Okay, so you don't have to, if you don't have that setup that I mentioned earlier, you can still use the back of 2 sturdy chairs to do the rear delt rows. If you have rinky-dink chairs, then you can probably still do the supine push-ups, but again, you're not really, you don't, like, it's not much of an investment to spend $20 on a chin-up bar and then you'll have it for the rest of your life. So again, I really recommend you doing that. It's versatile, it's inexpensive, and you go from being able to do most of your muscle building to being able to do all of them. Traps are the next muscles that are pretty hard to hit at home, but can be done. You just have to reorient yourself to make the exercise make sense in the context of bodyweight training. First off, the traps get hit indirectly whenever you're going to do a horizontal pulling exercise like the rows or the bodyweight high pulls like I've described earlier. Okay, so you're going to be doing indirect trap work whenever you do your back and whenever you do horizontal rows. For whatever reason, the traps are often included in shoulder workout days, so that's why I'm talking about it here today, even though the traps, if you think about it, are actually back muscle. The best trap exercises are going to be the handstand shrugs. Okay, so you can do a wall-assisted, handstand, and then you just shrug your body up, and you just do them until you're so tired that you're worried you're going to fall over. Okay, so that's my recommendation. Obviously, try not to fall over. Stop the exercise before that happens. Generally though, any handstand training is going to do the trick for your traps, so you can experiment with different exercises like handstand shoulder taps, for example. Okay, so there you have it. If you are interested in building muscle, you're definitely not forced to do it at the gym. With this list of exercises, you can easily just pick out any shoulder day workout from T-Nation and swap out any of their exercises with the ones that I've showed you in this video, and you just do the workout the same you would otherwise. Liking this video and subscribing to my channel goes a long way. If you enjoy new and creative ways to make gains with the equipment that you have at home, then click that like button and subscribe. Thanks again for watching. Bye.